Good afternoon. Thank you for participating in today's event, whether you're participating here in the room, our overflow room, or via video. My name is Wheeler Coleman. I'm currently the chairman of the Board of Trustees here at Northern Illinois University. In just a few minutes, you will have the opportunity to hear from Acting President Dr. Lisa Freeman on her vision for NIU. But first, I'd like to briefly provide you with an update on the adjusted presidential search process and the next steps. Over the last month, one or two trustees at a time have participated in numerous listening sessions with our key stakeholder groups, including the Operating Staff Council, the SPS Council, alumni, donors, and students, to name a few. There have been 9 sessions thus far, and there is one more session scheduled for September the 5th with the Faculty Senate. Later this evening, I will send an email to the university with a caption video link of Dr. Freeman's remarks and the Q&A session from today's forum. Additionally, the email will include information about the brief survey, which will be provided to students, faculty, and staff as an opportunity to share their opinions and feedback. The anonymized survey data and the feedback from the listening sessions will be used as input to the board's decision regarding NIU's next permanent president. The actual survey link will be sent in a separate email, and the survey may be taken once until 4:30 p.m. on September the 7th. If for some reason you're unable to complete the survey online and do not have an NIU email address, you will be able to request a paper or electronic copy. Instructions on how to do that are listed on the Presidential Search website. While you are not required to complete the survey, doing so will help us and help the university on our key decision that we have to make. On a separate note, from the presidential search process, NIU will conduct an annual evaluation of its president and post it online. A draft copy of the acting president's evaluation has been posted to the Board of Trustees website, and it will be available for viewing prior to our September 13th Board of Trustees meeting. Lastly, at the end of Dr. Freeman's remarks this afternoon, she will take questions from the audience. Members of our institutional communication team will be on hand with microphones. So if you have a question, please raise your hand and they will walk over to you. They will also signal when it's time for the last question. Now, for the reason that we're here today, I'm pleased to introduce Acting President Dr. Lisa Freeman.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for coming out or for tuning in today. It is really an honor to be here as a candidate for the presidency of this amazing institution. I appreciate the opportunity to share with you my passion for NIU and my vision for our future. Along the way, I hope you'll get a stronger sense of who I am, what I value, and what I would offer NIU as its next permanent president. NIU is distinctive for the ways in which various aspects of our mission intersect and reinforce each other to achieve the greatest possible benefits from their synergy across teaching, scholarship, and engagement activities. And it is how we do this that makes us undeniably special. The passion, the drive, and at times sacrifice that NIU faculty and staff invest in our students to make their dreams come true is unparalleled. This past year, as acting president, I've had the pleasure of getting to know more of our students and our alumni. Their stories about how faculty and staff were their advocates, connectors, and champions, both personally and professionally, are authentic and inspiring. Their experiences are testament to our success at promoting and achieving social mobility for students and their families. One of the reasons these stories resonate so profoundly with me is that my own story and that of my family is similar. It explains why I came to NIU in 2010 and why I'm so driven to make a difference in this institution and the lives that depend on it. My father went to vocational school on the GI Bill. My mother was the first woman in her family to go to college because she was given an opportunity to attend the City University of New York tuition-free. She taught first grade for 25 years. She loved helping the kids in her class learn to read. And she supported my ambitions even when she didn't fully understand them. I attended Cornell University as an undergraduate at one of New York State's public colleges within that research-intensive university. I worked in a faculty member's laboratory, fell in love with discovery science, and as a result of that experience, I continued on to obtain graduate and professional degrees. I became an educator, a scientist, and ultimately, an administrator. As a result of my personal and professional experience, I have tremendous respect and appreciation for the faculty and staff members who guide and support students along their transformative journeys. And I find great joy in helping students from diverse backgrounds see how knowledge shapes teaching materials, how artwork is created, and how they can use their curiosity and creativity to change the world in previously unimaginable ways. NIU faculty and staff excel at knowledge creation and artistry that is impactful and innovative, and our students excel with them. Whether tracking tornadoes, publishing award-winning books, or dancing at the Kennedy Center, their accomplishments get noticed and celebrated. As a result, NIU is attracting new partners and taking advantage of these relationships as resources. Our willingness to collaborate is a strength that positions us for future success, because no single institution has the capacity to solve global-scale problems. Problems such as providing access to all who want a quality education, or preventing chronic disease conditions, or addressing food insecurity, or water resource scarcity. When you look at NIU in this light, it's clear that we are ready to respond to the needs of our region, nation, and world. And we're able to bring a wide range of perspectives to bear on any challenge because of our traditions and our core values. Our strengths form a firm foundation for our future. And I'm excited about our future. My vision is that NIU will be recognized as an engine for innovation, creativity, and social mobility that empowers students, faculty, and staff to make a difference in our globally connected world. In my vision for the future, we evolve. so that NIU is renowned as a first-choice destination for talented students, faculty, and staff with different social identities and lived experiences, whose diverse perspectives foster innovation and inclusive excellence across our university community. We evolve so that all NIU students, undergraduate and graduate, residential and online, are immersed in learning environments that encourage them to work across the traditional boundaries that constrain creativity, to be innovative, to think critically, and to solve contemporary complex problems. We evolve to make certain that NIU employees feel appreciated and respected, that they rate the university as a great place to work because of an affirming culture that emphasizes collaborative governance, professional development, and work-life balance. And that NIU alumni show their Husky pride by increasing their engagement as mentors, donors, and investors, and our university is stronger for their contributions. In my vision for the future, the success of NIU and the potential of our students are not hindered by severe resource constraints. We have modernized the arcane administrative processes that frustrate our progress. We have equitable and inclusive policies and practices that promote student success and engage a diverse workforce. We have clarity regarding our institutional goals, and we confidently pursue them, energized by future possibilities. We spend our time thinking about what's next, rather than dwelling on today's issues. We take risks and are emboldened to achieve our full potential. To realize this vision, we will need to overcome internal challenges so that we can respond effectively to external threats. Most of these external drivers for change are not unique to NIU. Rather, they're in effect for all of public higher education. These include economic issues related to access, affordability, cost, and quality of degree programs. Demographic changes in the nature and the number of students pursuing baccalaureate and advanced degrees. The ubiquity of technology in our society and how it impacts the expectations of students and families. And eroding public confidence in colleges, universities, and the value of higher education. In this context, our strategies for success and for survival must be true to our institutional vision, mission, and values. NIU has ideals that define us and that should not change. Our public mission and commitment to access, affordability, and quality. Our identity as an engaged, student-centered research university. Our aspiration to model inclusive excellence across the university community. But this acknowledgement of immutable values does not mean that we can or should keep doing what we've always done the way we've always done it. Our roadmap for the future cannot and will not assume that all of the strategies and tactics that served us well for our first 125 years will be effective going forward. Before I talk about how together we will chart our future, I want to highlight how we are staying relevant to the emerging needs of our students and the global society that we serve. Our pursuit of excellence in all aspects of our mission has provided us with a strong foundation to support our future and a lot to celebrate and to promote. But the examples I cite are not chosen merely as points of pride. I selected them to illustrate our ability to take on challenges and create solutions. These are examples of Huskies doing hard things together. First, let's consider teaching and learning. A 2018 Bloomberg Next survey of 200 academic institutions and businesses that hire college graduates identified a skills gap with respect to teamwork, analytical reasoning, complex problem solving, agility, adaptability, and ethical judgment. We are way ahead of other universities in recognizing and addressing this need. The baccalaureate goals that NIU established almost a decade ago, critical thinking, creativity, and communication, are consistent with the attributes that academic institutions and businesses seek in the graduates that they hire. And now, NIU Plus, our progressive learning platform for undergraduate studies, provides multiple pathways for enriching our students' academic experiences and expanding their opportunities to apply what they learn in authentic and relevant contexts. In addition, the diversity of our student body ensures that Husky graduates gain experience working on teams with individuals who have different lived experiences. Today, the employers who hire our students rave about their work ethic and their preparedness for the jobs and the work environments that they enter. But those environments will transform rapidly. Occupations that currently exist will disappear, and new ones will be created. To succeed in the future, our students and our university will need to be adaptable, innovative, and committed to lifelong education. We must respond to these needs with even more dynamic academic experiences and advising models. And we are already moving in that direction by updating the curricula of established programs to ensure that they remain at the front edge of their disciplines, and by offering new online programs. For example, the College of Business has introduced new fully online master's degrees in digital marketing and data analytics. They've also increased the emphasis on analytics for all undergraduate majors. Let's next consider research, scholarship, and artistry. NIU is an R2 university according to the Carnegie Classification of Institutions of Higher Education. This means that our research program is among the top 10% of US colleges and universities. And within this group, we have been highly successful at creating synergy between teaching, scholarship, by being intentionally student-centered. We provide opportunities for all undergraduates, including incoming freshmen, to engage in meaningful research and artistry. And these students, who are mentored by exceptional members of our faculty and staff who enjoy bringing the fresh perspectives of undergraduates into their laboratories, studios, and field sites. Every year, I look forward to Undergraduate Research and Artistry Day to see their work showcased and celebrated. It's such an amazing event, full of energetic people who care deeply about the projects they're presenting. This past fiscal year, NIU faculty and staff secured sponsored funding awards totaling more than $30 million. The research funding component showed a 26% gain over this time last year, with significant gains across both STEM and non-STEM areas. And as NIU implements our current research vision, preparing Northern Illinois and the nation for a century of change, we need to continue to be intentional in the ways that we integrate research and undergraduate education. To this end, we have 4 strategic emphases: responding to the changing climate, preparing for changing demographics, leading the evolution of technology, and interpreting our changing world. These reflect regional and national needs and also align well with the expertise and interests of our faculty and the academic pathways of NIU+. Our continued success will depend on our ability to initiate and sustain academic and research collaborations that cross disciplinary boundaries, to engage faculty as well as graduate and undergraduate students to solve local, regional, and global problems. We will do this by assembling multidisciplinary, challenge-based groups of scholars, commonly referred to as research clusters. Our current plan is to increase our capacity for research and innovation by annually initiating at least 1 cluster. This year, we will be launching a new center named CREATE, cross-disciplinary research on engaging advanced technology for education. CREATE will be led by the Morgridge Endowed Chair in the College of Education, but will engage faculty throughout the university. building on our history as a normal school focused on producing teachers knowledgeable about pedagogy and curriculum. CREATE will develop innovative research programs that investigate cutting-edge technology to address educational challenges for learners of all ages. Plans include designing a humanoid robot that facilitates collaboration among young children, and developing a virtual advisor for underrepresented students in STEM at their community colleges. In these endeavors, the center will engage with practitioners in education and industry, locally and globally. And now, let's consider outreach, engagement, and service. Because of their considerable human and intellectual resources, universities are positioned to collaborate with their larger communities, to form long-term relationships where each partner contributes to the development of common goals and the pursuit of mutually beneficial outcomes. At NIU, we take very seriously our role in enhancing the lives of those who live, work, and learn in the communities that we serve. Within Northern Illinois, the service area extends beyond DeKalb and Sycamore to Rockford, Naperville, Hoffman Estates, Oregon, and other communities where we have a footprint. In this context, NIU is one of 60 institutions designated by the Association of Public and Land-Grant Universities as an Innovation and Economic Prosperity University. Because of our significant contributions and commitment to economic and community development. In fact, NIU was recognized by that organization with an award for place development because of the impact of initiatives focused on P20 engagement, broadband connectivity, and the Rockford area aerospace cluster. Collaboration across the academic, government, and private sectors will be critical to address the challenges that NIU and our local communities currently face. Accordingly, the university is developing a proposal with the City of DeKalb and the University of Illinois system to create a local hub of the Illinois Innovation Network focused on community sustainability. In June, that network and the Associated Discovery Partners Institute received approval for $500 million in capital funds. As currently envisioned by local stakeholders, including NIU faculty and staff, the hub here in DeKalb will have physical and programmatic components. It will build upon the rich legacy of agricultural innovation in DeKalb County, the academic excellence of NIU, and the opportunities to collaborate with public and private partners to catalyze innovation and economic development that will improve sustainable food systems, stewardship of scarce water resources, and adaptation to climate change. We expect to announce more specific plans for the hub in the coming weeks in partnership with the University of Illinois system and the City of DeKalb. As I mentioned earlier, these strengths and opportunities are proof that we can collaborate effectively to innovate and to deliver excellence in all aspects of our academic mission. I have also seen NIU faculty, staff, and students come together around other critical initiatives. Of these, none involved more time, effort, and inclusive participation than program prioritization. We successfully implemented that process to align mission and budget and to improve efficiency and effectiveness across our university. The final program prioritization report has been issued, but we will continue to take on challenges in a thoughtful and collaborative fashion, integrating attributes of program prioritization, such as transparency, accountability, and data-informed decision-making. We will incorporate these into our planning, budgeting, and assessment processes. The positive outcomes of program prioritization have been noted by members of the Illinois General Assembly, as well as by the external team responsible for the assurance review that was just completed for the Higher Learning Commission. To quote their report, "The past 4 years have been transformative for NIU, and the university community is committed to applying what has been learned to improve overall institutional effectiveness and sustainability." Program prioritization was a significant undertaking, and one that was possible because the members of the NIU community recognized our collective capacity and pulled together. And speaking of pulling together, our collaborative spirit has been in full view this week, as it is every year at this time when we welcome new students and faculty to NIU. They come to a beautiful campus made possible by the dedicated employees who maintain our grounds and buildings. They experience the competence and caring of our staff in housing and dining and in the administrative units and offices across campus. We work hard together in a coordinated fashion to move students into residence halls, to put on the presidential picnic and other welcome events, and to help our new students navigate their class schedules and the campus environment. Each year we do better than the year before because we care about NIU and because we take pride in being Huskies. I absolutely love the beginning of the school year, especially the opportunities to hear from students and parents about their hopes and dreams, and to tell new members of the university community what it means to join the Husky family and to uphold the principles of the Northern Pact. I enjoy every opportunity to demonstrate how we say, "Go Huskies." And that spirit is captured in the profile created by the Presidential Search Planning Committee. That profile also specifically directs NIU's next president to develop strong working relationships with students, faculty, and staff, and to do this not only out of respect for shared governance, but to foster their professional development, keep them informed, and promote Husky pride. I believe strongly that our success as a university will depend on our ability to sustain a culture where students, faculty, and staff feel heard, valued, and empowered, and where administrators see themselves as partners who are trusted to listen to constituent concerns and make decisions that advance NIU. Last year, as acting president, I furthered the development and implementation of ideas that came from you. For example, our new welcome events for first-generation college students and the policy library. This year, I plan to follow up on more of your good ideas. As president, I will model accountability and mutual respect, emphasize collaboration, and focus on collective results. I will expect the members of our leadership to do the same. In fact, the entire Husky community will need to work together to achieve and sustain this level of confidence and collaboration across the university. We will support each other and hold each other accountable for making NIU a great place to learn and to work. So far, I have focused on the positive because we will achieve success by building on our strengths and minimizing our vulnerabilities. But we can only do this if we recognize and acknowledge internal weaknesses and external threats. Our operating environment presents major challenges associated with demographic, economic, and technological changes. As a result, we are experiencing significant enrollment challenges and financial pressures. The Board of Trustees and the Presidential Search Planning Committee have said that they expect NIU's next president to inspire innovation and lead change so that we can respond to these challenges and shape our future. I'm wholeheartedly in agreement. This summer, I convened NIU's senior leaders, academic deans, and members of our enrollment management team to identify ways to grow student enrollment and enhance student success. We established high-level goals and strategies that reflect our aspirations to provide an inclusive and intellectually stimulating environment to students who reflect the rich diversity of our region, nation, and world. Acknowledging the work that must be done to achieve these outcomes, I've charged relevant divisions of the university and the Strategic Enrollment Management Committee with developing and implementing measurable objectives and tactics to support the goals and strategies. And I will remain personally involved to drive this effort. A multi-year strategic enrollment management plan will be finalized over the course of the next 2 months. But simultaneously, we will deploy time-sensitive recruitment strategies and tactics. And we will advance the critical work that is already in progress to close equity gaps, increase retention, and graduation rates. These important efforts will keep NIU moving forward. But to sustain our momentum longer term, we will need a robust strategic plan, one that embeds our research vision and our enrollment goals, and that also includes a comprehensive facilities master plan. This approach will make NIU's vision, direction, and goals transparent and accessible to all our stakeholders, and will help us sharpen our brand identity in a way that resonates with these groups. The planning process will be collaborative, designed in consultation with shared governance groups, and informed by the success of recent efforts within units of the university. I want and need your help to create the blueprint for NIU's future. And I think we can all agree that to do this well, we need to ensure that our process will neither be painfully long nor generate a product that will end up sitting on a shelf. Our strategic planning process will be successful only if everyone at the university understands our plan and their role in helping NIU reach our goals in the years ahead. NIU must also have resources sufficient to sustain our financial health, fund appropriate levels of institutional financial aid, enable investment in our programs and in our people, and allow us flexibility to respond to rapidly changing landscape for public higher education. To achieve a sustainable financial model, we must go beyond cutting costs and increasing revenue from traditional sources. We need to look at new revenue streams with a recognition that we cannot depend on state appropriations as we have in the past. Certainly, I will continue to demand that Illinois invest in its public universities, research networks, and talented students. I will also work with my counterparts to advocate in Springfield and Washington, D.C. for public higher education as a public good. But at the same time, we'll need to demonstrate our ingenuity, creativity, and ability to collaborate with the objective of generating new revenue. Through an appropriate focus on revenue generation, we can gain greater control over our own destiny and remain true to our core values. Given this imperative, philanthropy will be more important than it ever has been. NIU's next president will need to invest significant time and energy engaging current donors, cultivating new donors, inspiring alumni participation, and building a more robust pipeline for philanthropic support. I will relish the opportunities to help individuals and organizations find meaning by investing in NIU. I have met many alumni and donors this year who are enthusiastic about the positive impact that NIU has had on their lives and eager to pay it forward to provide new opportunities to the next generation of Huskies. As NIU's next permanent president, I will strengthen those relationships and tap the energy that exists across our alumni base. I am extremely enthusiastic about the potential to collaborate with the Innovation and Real Estate Task Forces recently created by the NIU Foundation. Fostering and sustaining a strong town-gown relationship is very important to me, not only as NIU's leader, but as a resident of this community. Like many of you, DeKalb is my home. We want it and we need it to thrive. To accomplish this, we will need to identify and develop non-traditional partnerships and new revenue streams for our community in a timely manner. And we're already working on exciting possibilities. For example, most of our DeKalb campus and contiguous portions of the city of DeKalb are qualified as an opportunity zone able to attract new investments eligible for preferential tax treatment under the guidelines of the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. This program has the potential to be transformative for the university and our community, driving innovation and economic development, as well as accelerating plans for the revitalization of the Annie Glidden North neighborhood. NIU can and must collaborate effectively with the city, community-based organizations, and private partners to achieve the shared goal of making our community more vibrant and more welcoming. By developing housing, retail, entertainment, and employment options that are attractive to students and visitors, as well as to current and future residents. We will advance our fiscal sustainability by pursuing strategies that are entrepreneurial, transparent, and consistent with our mission and core values. I want to take just a few more minutes before I answer your questions to emphasize the resonance between NIU's core values and my own. For the past 8 years, I've helped to move NIU forward in a way that upholds my personal values, with honesty and transparency, hard work, not settling, encouraging others to push themselves, and when they can, to reach back and help pull up someone from behind. I feel especially strong about inclusivity and access, and I want to be clear that I am committed to leading NIU forward as an exemplar of equity, cross-cultural learning, and engagement. As faculty, staff, alumni, and annuitants, you know the transformative power that higher education can provide to students and families. It's why you are here, why you work as hard as you do, and why you are passionate about what happens to NIU. Now, more than ever, our society needs places like NIU to extend its arms and then to embrace diverse people, identities, perspectives, and ideas to create knowledge, inspire expression and artistry, change lives, and even stir the soul. I want to lead a place that lives and breathes progress in a multitude of forms by fostering equity, inclusivity, and innovation. Diversity of identities, thought, and activities creates a vibrancy in a community, and I have seen that at NIU. For example, our Division I athletics programs, our facilities and improving amenities, our student organizations, our town-gown relationships contribute to the vitality of our community. They certainly add to my favorite images of NIU. Homecoming in the College of Education tent, where teachers and learners of all ages from all backgrounds sing the Husky Fight song together. Or the annual involvement fair that unites 300 student organizations with many more individual students and organizations who care about leadership, community service, figure skating, Greek life, salsa dancing, and the Mars rover. I value those aspects of life at NIU, but I also recognize that there are many ways that we can energize and inspire our community. We have room to grow in this respect, and many opportunities to do so. I'm going to continue to push us to do more and to be more. Earlier, I mentioned peer review of the university by our accreditor, the Higher Learning Commission. 4 years ago, a site visit team expressed significant concerns about our budgeting, planning, and resource allocation processes. They went as far as to recommend additional monitoring. We took an honest look at the feedback and ourselves. We created the right teams to address and make change. The university has just received positive news about the outcome of our most recent review by the Higher Learning Commission. We successfully addressed all concerns with no additional recommendations for monitoring, and we accomplished this despite unprecedented financial and leadership challenges. We know how to do hard things. We do them well when we do them together. Difficult times remain in front of higher education, in front of our state of Illinois, and in front of our NIU. But I am confident that we will be able to capitalize on our opportunities and overcome our challenges. We have already done a lot of hard work to respond to changes in our operating environment. We were stalled on our path to progress by 700 days without state funding, but we need to put that behind us. Rather than focusing on things we can't control, we need to focus on the things that we can influence to make NIU a better, more sustainable institution. We need to move forward rather than look backward. We need to be bold and unafraid to think about where we want to be and will need to be, not just next year, but in 5, 10, and even 20 years. We encourage our students to dream big, to trust in themselves, and to strive for a greater future. We tell them that what they do today will make a difference for them and for their families and for society. We need to exhibit the same sense of optimism across the Husky family and to expect these same things for ourselves as we move NIU forward together. It would be my distinct personal and professional honor to serve as NIU's next permanent president in this critical, rewarding, and meaningful endeavor. And now what I'd like to do is hear from you. What are your questions?
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Freeman. My name, ladies and gentlemen, is Leboya Rankaki. I come from Africa in a country called the Kingdom of Lesotho. It's a small country completely surrounded by the Republic of South Africa. This is my second week at NIU, and I would like to, just say I'm a Husky. I feel like a Husky. Husky pride has completely caught me by the storm. Now, Dr. Freeman, I have just one question. Back home, where I come from, we are fond of knowing a couple of universities in America, like Harvard, Stanford, and some other few. So my question is, how comes that I didn't know about NIU before I came here? Because, I'm asking this question because I'm trying hard to make sure that the folks at home know about NIU. It's a good place, strategically positioned, good people, good food, and good dorms. So that's my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and welcome to NIU. We're delighted that you're here. You raise a couple of good questions. We know when we ask students who are here, when we talk to families who've sent students here, legacy families, or students who have brothers and sisters who come here, that they think, as our questioner thinks, that this is an exceptional university that provides a wonderful experience. But we don't do a good job of telling that story and selling ourselves. I don't know if it's historically been Midwest modesty or a lack of urgency, but we gotta get the word out about the good stuff that is going on here. And especially if we want to continue to attract really talented international scholars. It used to be not that long ago that students from other countries really believed that this was a country they could come to and take part in our public higher education system, transform their lives, the lives of their families, and have a future that bridged continents. They knew that they would be welcome here. And right now, they don't all feel that way. Just saying, come to America, come to NIU, is no longer good enough. Our international enrollments that are persisting are in places where we have very personal connections and long-standing relationships at the academic program level as well as the university level. Places where people who are nervous about the national milieu can say, but I know so-and-so at NIU, and I know your child will be safe there, and I know that you will graduate. And we need to do that intentionally, better than we've been doing it. And so to our new Husky, I say, let's talk about how you can help us get the word out to other people from your country, to other folks who are only thinking about Harvard and Yale and not realizing that this gem in DeKalb near Chicago is available with world-class graduate and undergraduate programs. That was a great question. Thanks for asking it.
Dr. Freeman. I'm Claire Crone. As faculty of both NIU and Kishwaukee College at the moment, I have a lot of students who will come to me and say, I can't make a class because I have a court date. I also know from my own experience in my family that there are going to be a lot of students who are going to be burdened with felony charges as they graduate that are going to prevent them from entering the job market at the levels they should. And I'm wondering if NIU specifically could be a bridge kind of university that welcomes students that have these kinds of burdens, legal burdens, and have some kind of a connection to job opportunities that we could funnel them into jobs despite those kind of limitations.
Great. Let me take your question in two parts. Let me first start with students who have complex lives, and then talk particularly about students who have the type of legal problems that you describe. You know, I hear from faculty that students are different today than they were 10 years ago. I hear that sometimes they feel that they're more distracted in the classroom beyond just having the phone that's glued to their hand and their ear. And I can tell you that our academic standards haven't changed in 30 years, and the qualifications of our students haven't changed. But I do think their lives have become more complex. We've had a recession, we've had a recession, but we've also globally had a recession. And our students are paying more for college, and their families have less ways to support them. And they're more first-generation students, and they're thinking about things, and they have to work, and they have families. And so I think we do need to figure out how we as a university support better the students that we serve, because that's our obligation. And sometimes it's in how we schedule classes. Sometimes it's how individual faculty members express to students their willingness to understand that life happens. Sometimes it's thinking about what we could do better for parents, adult students. Should we have evening daycare? Could we find a way to do that in conjunction with the city? Those are the kinds of things we can do for students who have complex lives in general. And that's pretty much all of our students. But then when you think about students who've had legal challenges, we already at NIU accept students who have had legal problems. We ask them sometimes to explain the circumstances of those problems. We do that with our employees as well. But we're very forgiving, and we try very hard to support students. The one place where we draw a line is if we think a student or an employee's history poses a safety threat, because we put safety as number one. But other than that, we work very hard to help students whose lives have gone off the rails find a different way. And I'm happy to hear you mention the partnership with Kishwaukee College, because we see Kishwaukee College as an important partner. We share students. We send students back and forth when we think that that's the best thing for the student in terms of completing their degree. And we're talking about working together more actually to create shorter degree times, shorter times to degree for students. So I think working with Kishwaukee College, partnerships in the community, being cognizant of our students' complex lives, and making sure that we understand that people make mistakes. And as long as there's no danger posed, we want to help students find their way. We want to show that life isn't over from something stupid that you did when you were young.
Thank you.
Dr. Freeman, my name is Nick Benescu. I've been here in Nick Help as long as you have. My question is, what marketing strategies can you or the next president do for NIU athletics to get more involved for the students to go to the events? Because sadly, on my phone, it's like within the last year, at least once or twice a week, I got a notification saying there was a shooting, there was a robbery around where I live, or just somewhere around campus. And I can give you an example about athletics as a whole. American University volleyball. They had a tournament this past weekend. Guess how many people they had? Almost 3,000. That's more than we do here at NIU. And I've been here going to NIU events since I came back to NIU in 2.5 years ago, and it's appalling. The attendance is so low. Yes, the men are doing great. Yes, we have a great athlete in Eugene German. But look what happened in 2016 for women's sports. Volleyball. We hosted the MAC tournament and got almost 2,000 fans into the Convocation Center, won the whole thing, and yet not a word was mentioned about it. Where's the marketing strategies for that? This past year, softball, 7th seed in the MAC tournament, got to the MAC final, not a blimp. And yet, football, I understand, is a cash cow. We have a great football program since I came to NIU. What about the other sports? Soccer, volleyball, gymnastics. I have friends in gymnastics, volleyball, everywhere else, and yet the attention is not there for women. And sadly, my gender takes a very stereotypical and sexist attitude. How can that be done to change with the right marketing strategies?
That's a great question, and you touched on many different points. So I'm going to try to answer them kind of maybe one by one and try to get there. I want to start out by saying that the value of Division I athletics goes beyond the number of people who are in a stadium through what happens in media. And that happens on network television for a revenue sport like football. And certainly when we're beating Nebraska through an entire game and every 10 minutes, every single station is saying something about the Huskies, that's really valuable to the university. But we also, through the MAC, have arrangements with other streaming services and now with NIU Plus to provide more content from non-revenue sports, men's and women's revenue sports. I agree with you that I would like to see the stadiums, the Convo Center, Victor E. Court, every athletics venue full. But the challenge that we're facing in filling those up, it's not unique to NIU. Attendance at athletic events is going down around the country, and I think part of that is because people have come to expect a different experience. You know, if you want to watch a game, it's fun to be in the crowd and to cheer and to feel that, and I love it. I go to all NIU sports. I have been to every single NIU sport at least once, and if you'll ever notice, when I'm doing media interviews and they ask me about football, I always mention volleyball, gymnastics, and women's basketball because I feel that that's really important. But I also know that sometimes it's just as comfortable to go to a watch party. Everybody has really great TVs now, and everybody's doing fantasy and streaming on the phone. And so I think we need to work on our fan experience, but everyone in our society, the NCAA, the MAC, we need to also think about what it means to be a spectator. Just as all of our students are not going to be here living in our residence halls, sitting in our classes, more of them will be connecting virtually. I think that's also true for our fans. But yes, I believe that we need to think about new and different strategies to get the vibrancy of our athletic events up and advertised. You also mentioned safety issues, and I do want to take a minute to address that, because I answered the questioner next to you by saying safety is very important, and safety is very important. I'm very optimistic about the revitalization of the Annie Glidden neighborhood. I mentioned in my talk that we might be able to accelerate the agenda that's been developed through a very inclusive planning process because of the opportunity zone defined by the Tax Reform Act. But while we're waiting for that to happen, I want everybody to know that we're doing everything we can to protect the safety of all of our students on our campus and in the neighborhoods where they live. I know sometimes it can be disconcerting to get a message about what's going on, but we send those messages because we think that information is power. And we want you to know what's going on so that you can make good decisions about safety. There are many campuses and neighborhoods much less safe than ours that just don't send out those notifications. Some of them, if they did, the phone would just be ringing all the time. But we really want our students and their families to know what's going on. We've also increased Husky Safe Line, Husky Rides. Our police have increased the number of patrols that they have. One thing new that they're instituting this year is creating safe spaces for transactions. So sometimes students get themselves in trouble if they're selling something on Craigslist. They accidentally set themselves up to be targets. If we have a legal transaction going on, we now have a place that students can go to do that where they'll be protected. That's a step in the right direction, and it comes from looking at the crime data and also talking to our students about what makes them nervous. We have really good relationships right now between the DeKalb police and the NIU police. And that's really important because we are one community and we do need to work together. So we have some challenges in terms of safety and security, but we're working on them. And overall, this is a safe campus and a safe community. I'm not supposed to recognize people.
Hi, Dr. Freeman. I'm Gibson Chima. I'm a new faculty member in theater and dance, and I write about South Africa, so I've been to the border of your beautiful country and camped out in Golden Gate Park, and so I'd love to meet with you and talk with you and welcome you to NIU. My question is about your plans for promoting and supporting the arts at NIU.
I think that the arts are extremely important to a vibrant community, and creativity and design and helping people understand our changing world, the arts play a huge role in that. You know, sometimes we use the shorthand here of research when we really mean research, scholarship, and artistry. And when you heard those four emphases, the last one is really about arts and humanities and the important role that humanities and arts play in creating a civil society and a vibrant community. I'm very excited about some of the things that are already moving forward, like the creative pathway. And when I talk about things crossing disciplinary boundaries, I see a role for the skill sets of the humanities and arts in everything. And I will say that I go to a fair number of concerts and dances and performances and art shows, as well as athletic events. You can ask the people who've been on campus a little longer.
Dr. Freeman, thank you for your informative comments. My name is Denise Heyman. I direct the Chance program. I wrote my question down so I could stay on track here. So, over the past week, the University of Illinois system announced a scholarship initiative for family incomes of $60,000 or below. Your thoughts on this creative and daring initiative and how it might impact NIU's recruitment of students in the future?
That's a great question. So, the University of Illinois announced a free tuition program for students whose families have an income less than the median income. I think it's about $61,000. It covers tuition, but not fees and room and board. And they did that to really combat the outmigration of students, the fact that students are leaving for merit aid packages and other types of aid packages in large universities in the bordering states and also as far away as Alabama. We've been talking at NIU before this announcement for a while about what type of tuition program would make sense for us to put together to assist and support the students that we serve. And not just address the problem of outmigration, but the problem of students who go nowhere. If you want to know who our greatest competitor is, the largest fraction of students who are accepted to NIU in good academic standing with good credentials, GPAs over 3.4, ACTs over 21, the greatest fraction of students with those credentials who are accepted here and do not come here, don't go to another four-year school, and don't go to another two-year school. That's an incredible waste of human capital, and that's a failure of public higher education. And when we think of a tuition program, we need to think about what we can do to help those students as well as the students who already come here. Denise, I have to say I'm not surprised that you asked the question because, I think Chance is an incredible example of how NIU was ahead of its time. Chance is about to celebrate its 50th birthday. And now we hear a lot of universities saying, talent is universal and opportunity is not. But we were very thoughtful about that 50 years ago. And now we need to be very thoughtful about how we try to support underfunded, high-achieving students. We already cover tuition and more for the students whose have no parental contribution expected of them. They have about a $7,000 gap of unmet need, but that's we've covered their tuition about a third of their other expenses. And still that's not good enough. We need to figure out how to eliminate that gap. We need to do it through a combination of partnerships with corporations and foundations, through philanthropy, through taking advantage of the new programs that the governor just signed in, to fighting for more MAP and more funding and grants for students who have need and talent, and then thinking about more creative ways to help students finance their education. I know my husband was a member of the National Health Service Corps. His family was pretty modest means. He got through college. He got into medical school, and he really only had money to pay for 1 year of medical school. And so he did service payback. We lived in Appalachian, Southern Ohio for 3 years, and he was a physician in an area with unmet need. And as a result of that, his medical school tuition and other costs were covered. There are actually companies out there now that are helping students with certain majors work with employers while they're in college to create a payback plan. We need to think about doing innovative things like that. There's probably not one solution, but a tuition program combined with these other things, we have to do that for the students who are here and struggling to finish and stay here, and the students who aren't going anywhere.
Hello, my name is Cassandra Camp. I'm a current sophomore student here at Northern Illinois. I wrote mine down on a piece of paper too, so I don't lose it. So, in the process of choosing a higher education institution, students will make their decision based not only on the university with the best academic programs, but also with a vibrant student life on campus. What will you do to protect the health of Greek life and social experiences for students here at Northern Illinois?
Thank you. That's a really good question. When I talked about a vibrant community, that will mean different things for different students. And some of that is certainly Greek life. We want Greek Row to be vibrant and safe, and I've already spoken to some of the opportunities that we have to reinvest in that neighborhood, both on the side that's controlled by the city, but also on intersections that are controlled by the university, to bring in retail and entertainment and opportunities and things that students are interested in. And we know what some of those things are because the city of DeKalb and our student affairs people have been talking to students about what they want. We have esports opening in Neptune Hall because a group of presidential scholars told us they thought that would be important. I learned what silent disco was last year because somebody told me that they thought was important. But having a vibrant Greek community is important too. And I want to shine the spotlight on the positive things that are going on in the Greek community in terms of leadership, in terms of community service, and in terms of philanthropy. There's a national conversation going on right now about all the wrong things that go on in the Greek community. And we've seen the damaging effects of that at NIU. We need to focus the spotlight on the good things, and we need to do that in partnership with the Greek organizations. My husband and I attended a Meet the Greek picnic on Saturday. It was very warm. We got through 23 of the 25 tables before people were packing up. But as we spoke to the leaders of the Greek organizations, we heard great ideas about how we could get the word out about what they were doing and how we could engage more students, faculty, and community members in their activities. And I really look forward to working with the student leadership this year on those initiatives. I see a lot of hands up in this area with no microphones, so I'm just letting the guys who are roving know that.
Hi, Dr. Freeman. My name is Manny Diaz. I am a building service worker here on the campus. I work in Barcima Hall. I was also on the negotiating committee for Local 963 along with management. As you all know, we just had a contract vote, a ratification, and it passed. So then now it goes before the Board of Trustees next month. But during that whole process, we as a committee really had a firm understanding as to how our management, our supervisors, view us as building service workers. We are viewed as low-wage employees, that we really don't matter, that the threat of outsourcing is always there. That's a huge concern because most of the people that work here at the university live in this town. As you mentioned earlier, we're all part of this NIU community. I get more respect from the students, from office workers, from faculty in Barcima Hall, really than we do from our own supervisors. In fact, I have two letters, one from Dr. Lang, from OMIS, the chair from that department, also Brad Kripe, who's the assistant chair of accountancy, showing us that they understand, they see what we do. We're not just people here that make sure the buildings are clean when the students, when the faculty get here first thing in the morning. We care about this community. I personally have helped a student ace, as he said, his presentation. It was a simple thing such as tying a tie. He didn't know how to do it. I made a joke, a clip-on is so much easier. But then I showed him, and then I saw him a week later, and he came up to me and he thanked me. He said, I thank you for taking time out of your busy day. I know it's busy, but you helped me get through this. Dr. Balaji Rajagopalan, he asked my opinion last year as I was extracting carpets, cleaning them, as to where I thought they needed improvement in Barcima Hall. I made a suggestion that we remove the armrests from the chairs in two of the tiered classrooms simply because the students were destroying them. I said, if I am a outside company looking to sponsor a classroom, and if I were to see those chairs like that, I'm not so sure I want to contribute money to this university. 2 weeks later, those armrests were removed, placards are placed outside the classrooms, and they now have a sponsorship. What's your view as to what you see in the future as us as BSWs? What do I go back and tell my union membership as to how we should feel about our future here on the campus of the university? Again, this is what we do. Some of us are here for reasons beyond our control. I'm one of those. Came from a corporate world. I wind up doing this. But I take great pride in what I do. And again, from the wording, from the faculty, staff, students, again, that back us on what we do, this isn't a proud profession. I don't believe anybody aspires to be a janitor, but for whatever reason, we wind up here. And again, we take pride in what we do. So what can you say to us that will ease our minds, ease our thoughts a bit as we look to the future as to possibly retiring out of the university? I also have a son on campus. He understands, he sees what's going on. He's concerned, what's going to happen with me? Are we going to be able to make those tuition payments by the time he graduates next year?
So there was a lot there. And I thank you for asking some very challenging questions. I'm going to try to address multiple parts. And the first thing that I want to say is I don't think being a professional has anything to do with what your occupation is. Being a professional is about how you come in and do your job and care about excellence and care about people. And I'm not surprised that the faculty and staff and students in Barcema Hall recognize you as the professional that you are. And you deserve their respect. And you deserve the respect of everybody on this campus. And I want a round of applause for that, please. You mentioned that you're having challenges with your supervisor. And we are implementing more supervisor training through the Employee Assistance Program on campus right now to help improve communication between employees and their supervisors. And that's one thing that we're doing. But if you feel that there are issues in your area, if you feel that there's discrimination or retaliation or numerous types of workplace issues, we also have places for you to go to get that type of help. There are complaint processes through the new Office of Ethics and Compliance. We have personnel advisors and ombudsperson in addition to the people who serve your bargaining unit. So if you feel that you have issues that are painful and troubling you and you can't get them resolved, come forward and help be part of the solution. In terms of the question you asked about outsourcing, at this point in time, we don't have any plans to do staff reductions, but we will always be willing to consider opportunities for partnerships. And when we consider those opportunities, we're not looking at cost savings exclusively. We're looking at things like the quality of the service that we would get. We're looking at things on how would we get the same support for our mission and for our students and for our faculty out of a partnership. And when we make the decision to form a partnership, we also always try to make our partner think of our employees first. And in cases where that doesn't work, we provide outplacement. We're not planning to do anything to building service workers at the moment. We keep our mind open when opportunities arise, but we always care about our employees.
Hi, Dr. Freeman. I'm Todd Durham. I'm
there you
currently
are.
a sophomore here. As a commuter student here at NIU, I regularly witness both my peers and myself returning to our hometowns over the weekend with little interaction in the DeKalb community. What are some initiatives you plan to take to increase student involvement in and exploration of the DeKalb community after classes and over the weekends?
So I don't want to put you on the spot, but I talk to students a lot about what's going on the weekends and what we can do to be more engaging. And I hear a spectrum of things. We need a dance club. We need this type of activity. Or I hear nothing's going to keep me here because I chose NIU because I want to go home and be with my family and work. Or I hear, I used to think there was nothing to do in DeKalb on the weekend, but after people convinced me to stay a couple times, it's great. So I'm hearing a spectrum of opinions, and I think I'd really like to hear from you and your colleagues about how we can help support a vibrant weekend experience for students who want to stay and don't. So if you want to give me some ideas right now, I'd be willing to take them. And if not, please come and talk to me about it and bring your friends and let's have a great dialogue. That was really helpful feedback because creating new events and a different type of community and retail and entertainment is a longer-term issue, but publicizing stuff that goes on is something we can really start doing better soon. So thank you for making that suggestion, and we will look at that and get on that.
Good afternoon, Dr. Freeman. Thank you so much for answering my brother's local 963 over there question. One component that was not addressed, there are more than 1,500 employees on campus represented by a union. I'm the interim president of ASME 1890. We represent 600 of those employees. And we also just went through negotiations, as you are aware. You are also aware that during that process, a lot of trust and confidence was broken between administration through your representatives, speaking on your behalf, based on what you were saying in public and based on what we were hearing from your representative speaking on your behalf, it broke a lot of trust and confidence amongst our unit. So my question to you is whether attempting to mend the fractured relationship will be one of your priorities if you were to become our permanent president, and if so, how do you think you can go about doing that?
Thank you. Great question. I'm not going to address anything that went on in the collective bargaining process because that wouldn't be appropriate. But I can tell you that I respect our employees' right to organize. My mother was in a union, and my family benefited from that. And over the 25 years that she was in a union, I saw disagreements occur, sometimes across the members of the bargaining unit, sometimes between the members and the leadership of the bargaining unit, and sometimes between management and the members of the bargaining unit. When you have an erosion of trust, a frustration, a loss of confidence, and that can happen after a protracted negotiation. And first contracts are often protracted negotiations. The way to rebuild trust is the way to rebuild trust across any group of people. And that is to be conscious of the fact that you need to reach out, you need to be transparent, you need to say what you're going to do and do what you said you were going to do. You need to understand and be empathetic to the fact that people don't feel the way they used to be, meet them where they are, and help folks get back to what we want, Husky pride across our workforce. Every single person who works for NIU in any employment class deserves respect, deserves transparency, deserves accountability from the administration.
Dr. Freeman, we're approaching the end of our time, so this will be our last question.
That's a lot of pressure, Joe. Hi, Dr. Freeman. My name is Pardon me. My name is Jason Axt. I'm an instructor. I teach journalism. This gentleman back here mentioned there was a problem in Barcema, and within 2 weeks it was fixed. I work in Revis, Watson, and DuSable Hall, where the ceilings have been leaking. The floors are tiled with whatever was on sale at Menards that week. The computer labs are stocked with Windows Vista computers, literally. And we work with students from all disciplines, all over the university, and yet nobody I work with or work for has ever heard even a hint of when renovations, upgrades, etc. So you mentioned a campus facilities master plan. I was just wondering if you might want to elaborate on when or if some of the university's core learning facilities are ever going to be upgraded. Thank you.
I think that's a great question. And let me say that we don't need a campus facilities master plan to decide things like where deferred maintenance needs are. We're pretty aware of those. We also went 700 days without any funding from the state. And to spare jobs and to spare our educational mission, we fell even further behind. And that's really unfortunate for people who live and work and try to learn in buildings that are in great disrepair. I was in Springfield on Tuesday, and I think that we have really made an important point with the General Assembly members about the shameful conditions in our educational buildings on public universities across Illinois. We have a greater amount of money put forward for deferred maintenance and renovation. Our top project is not Revis Hall, but our top project is a boiler that's older than I am. And if it went, the whole campus would be paralyzed. Revis Hall does serve all of our students through Gen Ed, and it deserves to be fixed. And we do have a rubric that we're developing to try to decide how we address deferred maintenance as quickly as possible. And that will be able to accelerate now that we have some additional funding. So stay tuned. And John Heckman, do you want to raise your hand? You are getting really small there, but there's John Heckman, our Associate Vice President for Facilities. And I know that he would actually welcome an opportunity to sit down and just explain to you what the decision-making process is. Because I think part of transparency is understanding how decisions are made. Even if you don't get what you want, you should understand why things are done the way they are. Going back for a minute to the facilities master plan, I think part of why we need a facilities master plan is also to figure out what buildings can't be saved so that we understand what our philanthropic opportunities are and how we can best use the physical plant that we have. Revis is not in that category, and we don't want it to get in that category. But we have Lincoln Hall, which I don't think we'll ever put students in again because of the sad condition it's gotten in. We've seen things deteriorate on our campus way beyond the point where they should, and we're doing our best. Sometimes the things that you see, like peeling paint and the Menards special tiles that you describe, are very hard to look at every day. But the envelope of a roof in another building where we're about to have catastrophic failure or leaking is something that we have to consider just as we consider the boiler. So I appreciate your question. I feel your pain. I don't like dodging buckets and looking at mismatched flooring as I walk around the facilities that our students see either. And I'm making that case in Springfield, and we're trying to do the best we can. Wait, I forgot that was the last question. I got carried away thinking about the buckets. I just want to add my thanks to all of you for attending the forum, for asking such thoughtful questions, and for all that you do for the university. And we certainly heard today how much you care about NIU and how much you care about supporting our students. You are Huskies. You are smart. You are tough. You are relentless. And you can make a vision into a reality, and I hope I get the opportunity to work with you on that. Thank you. Thank you.
Superstar. Great job. Great job.
Thank you. Thanks, Christine. I'm getting my water.